What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Breaker Debates. We are in episode 104, and we're going to continue on with some favorite books that me and Madam B have been reading and want to talk about and discuss and recommend to our viewers. Now, in the first video we just did in episode 103, we went out and did 6 books, and in this one we're going to do another 6. We really hadn't established the rules for this, but I did include graphic novels. Graphic novels, maybe not comic books. I don't know about that. Maybe I don't know about manga, but as for now, just gonna be books and graphic novels. I don't care. Anyways, well, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So, Madam B, did you want to start first, or you want me to start?
I guess I'll go ahead and get it over with. My first book is See No Evil.
Who the author?
Patricia Wallace.
Okay.
This book kind of throwed me a little bit. I did understand it, but the way in the middle and then some of how it ended kind of throwed me. There's 2 kids. They're both blind. Okay, Karen Dearborn and Todd Reynolds. They are not related. Karen, she's, I wouldn't say she comes from a wealthy family, but she comes from a family that could afford, the cornea operation that she needed to have. Todd didn't. He actually was on the run, him and his mom, from somewhere. They just was on the run. They just stayed in these messed up motels and basically, yeah, they were on the run. So does
the book ever establish like what from?
It was
you don't have to tell them, but
a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Karen's dad and their stepmom, her name is Lisa. She don't like Karen. Lisa does not like Karen. She thinks she's like just a bother. So they want to get her the operation. Now, the evil in this part is there's this girl. Her name is Anna Lee. She's basically, she goes around the world picking out kids basically to either see what she see and carry on what she can't no more. So how she did it this time in this book is she got hit by a car. Okay. Corneas intact. That's all she wanted was her corneas intact. I think she was either hit by a car or some kind of accident, but the rest of her body was messed up. So that was a chance for Karen and Todd to actually see a little bit. Karen, she came for the operation. She was going to get both of them, of course. But all of a sudden, this would kind of trip me out. All of a sudden, Todd's mom was like, and she heard about it. She was just like in the hospital and she heard about it. And she was like, she just begged the doctor, please, please, please give my son his operation. I have no money. I have no insurance. Just please, please, please let my son have this operation. Normally, no doctors would go for that.
Yeah.
But he did. It's a small town. Everybody knew everybody. So,
okay.
Yeah. So one went to her, one went to him. After all of that, and after they was healing, they were in the hospital, they, kind of talked and started getting into, the friend mode, Karen and Todd. Then they started noticing something weird going on with their eyes and such. They were seeing things and they could make things happen. there was this woman in another hospital room. It was like your biggest fear, basically.
Yeah.
She was like a germaphobe. She was anything, any little thing was just nasty to her. And so somehow they pictured it, and all of a sudden she was in her room and she was just seeing all of this stuff. And then later on they found her, she was bloody and scratchy all over. I don't think they ever did establish what was Annalie. She was maybe just a demon, but they know when
So she wanted to die, but she wanted to keep her eyes intact so that kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, she did that everywhere she went.
Oh, okay.
So when it came time for them to go see about the body and try to give her a burial because they didn't know who she was, the body was gone. So basically, it was just a cycle for her.
So was she like feeding off the kids' energy or something?
It wasn't exactly that. It was just, okay, they let them see what I see. They didn't establish what she was or what happened to her.
Is it like, do you see what I see?
Okay. Anyway, basically through this whole book, let me show them the book.
Okay. It's backwards, but
yeah, through that book, they basically set into people's worst fears and read their thoughts and crap like that. When Karen did go home, it was kind of messed up because Lisa had actually redid her room and was like, okay, well, this is for you finna get this small room here. This is for what did she say? Either she was pregnant or something. But she said, this is for the baby. So Karen was like, okay, you want me to in this small room? Oh yeah, she had it coming to her.
Wow.
That was when, Karen was more into it than Todd was when they actually realized what they were doing.
So she went to the dark side pretty quick.
Yeah, she got more into it than Todd did. But at the end, it was funny because after all of that, Todd and his mom was getting ready to leave. And Karen, she just went with them. The dad was like, Karen, where are you going? And then Karen looked back at him and just looked and said nothing and got right on into the car. That was when Todd and his mom had actually stayed there for like a good minute until he healed and they got them someplace to stay and stuff like that. So whatever was going on, they needed to be together.
All right, so I'm asking this. Do they come into contact with that demon lady?
Annalie?
Yeah.
They do see her. They do.
Okay. Okay. Tell me
and
about
it was a little girl.
Figures. Girls are just but tell me, what did you like most about the book? Like, do the characters stand out to you?
What they were doing, it was actually pretty funny. Especially what they did to the hospital director thing. The hospital, it was in bad shape. They was trying to. It was on like a handful of people at the hospital, and
kind of like that Chucky movie.
Okay, and they was actually trying to get the people to move to like the hospital across the way because the hospital was in bad shape. The director of the hospital didn't want to try to fix it up or anything. His mama was in there. His mama was a real beep. So,
Okay, what is your impression? Is it a good read? Is it a good mystery? Is it a good horror? Do you like the characters?
Karen and Todd. Todd was kind of shy at first. He didn't know actually what was going on with his eyes. He was kind of scared. It took Karen to kind of embrace it, because Todd and his mom, they were on the run. So Todd, he didn't have a chance to, like Karen with her blindness, she still learned a lot more than Todd.
Yeah.
When you're blind, you're like, okay, 2 steps till here, 2 steps till there. And then plus she had a neighbor helping her out. Like, I see something on your 6 o'clock, on your 3 o'clock, like that. Yeah. She had people helping her out. Todd didn't. So that's why Todd was kind of, iffy about it at first.
Was Sierra in the story?
Who's Sierra?
Slide off 1, 2 steps. Let's get on up. I'm just messing. But I'm just asking your opinion. Did you like the book?
I liked the book.
Did you like the characters?
The characters, except for Lisa. The dad was kind of because he wanted to agree with Lisa on everything. We need a good life. Your mom is gone. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But her neighbor, I did like her neighbor, but she died. Was a little old woman, but I did like her neighbor though.
Okay. So would you recommend this as what kind of genre? Just horror?
Horror suspense.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and break a rule. Now I ain't gonna break no rules. I already said how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time manga book. Ocarina of Time, the game, is one of my favorite all-time video games, and I was surprised to see that they actually had a manga adaptation to it. And of course, it follows the same premise of the game. You're Link. You're in this village of kids. You end up going up to find out you're the savior, and you go on this this great quest to stop Ganondorf, who was taking over the land and wants the Triforce so he can rule the world. Okay, the manga pretty much follows that same concept. There are some new elements to it, which I really would say are just fantastic and should be added to the game. But there are some things about the story that I don't like either. First, I will say the presentation and art style are actually pretty good. It has the anime feel, but it does feel true to the game in many aspects, the game design, to the characters and stuff in many aspects. It had a pretty good pacing. Yes, it's a really thick manga, but it does a good job of keeping the flow of the story going really well.
This was from back to front?
I think it is. Yeah, back to front. She don't like the back to front. It can be a little confusing at times. You're not used to it, like me. But it's actually a really good read. The characterization for Link is actually really good, and I like the fact that he has personality in this. Because in the games, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't do anything, he has absolutely nothing to his character. But in this, he actually has a bit of character. A lot of the characters that are in here actually have really prominent roles. They actually feel like they are a part of the story and not just not in the story, not doing anything. I like that. But there are some moments where you do feel like the character could have did a bit more. But like I said, I will elaborate a little bit on it. It was the story and art style is by Akira Himekawa. I think he did a great job. There are some points I would kind of argue where you think, if he's basing this off a game, did he actually play the game? There are some moments where that does kind of occur. But
I mean, well, you don't want the book like the game, do you?
To some aspects, yes. To some aspects, no. In the game, and like this would be one of them. In the game, you're Link, and you're on this quest, but you're by yourself the entire time. Mm-hmm. In the game world, it makes sense. But when you're reading this, Link's in this entire land of people, he's the only one on this quest. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like I didn't like that part. That's one of the changes I wish they could have. They wish that they would have done. I mean, yes, there are 1 or 2 characters that do accompany him to various places, which I did like that, because it's like, okay, yeah, they should do that. You're in a land that's being abused by this emperor, and his people are wanting to rise up. So
he goes on the quest to try to, what?
To defeat Ganondorf.
To help the people.
And the thing about it is, like, the people don't help him.
So nobody else thought of that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that they don't think about it. It's like when you're watching The Lord of the Rings, there's a band of heroes together.
Mm-hmm.
And as they go to different places, those places are like, yes, we'll help you.
Oh, so you saying it just shouldn't have been him. A lot of people should have been wanting to actually do it to get out of that situation. Or
at least they could have been like, okay, well, we're going to attack this to distract the army of bad guys and allow you time to slip in. Some stuff like that. Those are like some of the major plot holes. I do like the fact that in here he does train to use the sword, the Master Sword. I thought that was really good. And like I said, some of the aspects where he is helped or aided by other characters, it's great to see him do that. But there also, again, are some plot holes with that. One of them being he's fighting a ghost. He can't beat the ghost because it's a ghost.
Right, like Ghost Shark.
Yeah, another character comes in with this the bow and arrow, but except the arrows are magically enhanced with light energy, which hurts dark energy, which is the ghost. Mm-hmm. So instead of the character coming in and shooting the ghost himself, he throws the bow and arrow to Link. And it's like, why you just didn't shoot the bow and hit the guy yourself and let Link finish him off with the sword? That does happen. And like I said, I like the fact that they are kind of paying homage to the source material, in which Link is the one who gets that stuff and beats the bad guys. But they could have did it a better way if they're going to have another character there. But I will say, like I said, it's great to actually read this. It really is. Especially with all the new stuff. They even add little side stories to help give depth to the world. There are new characters. There are as even a point where some new species in the game. And again, in the book. And it's just great. It's just a great read all around. I really appreciated what they did with it. Like I said, there are a couple of plot holes, but not everything is perfect. They did a great job with it. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to go ahead and let you take over.
Okay. This book is by Zane. When I say Zane, many of you will think sex. Basically, that's what Zane writes. She writes good ass books. But I'm just saying sex. Anyway. But this is a Zane Presents book. This is a novel by Shakir Rashaan. It is called The Awakening. It is actually a series of books. This is just book one of the Nubian underworld. I'm just going to be quick about this. Don't want to turn no heads out there to be like, dang, that's how she reads. Anyway, I like in the book how they did the characters. Basically, it is, you know, how you see people in business suits and women in business suits. They're all corporate, but at night, they just strip off all that, and become basically
dominatrix number 6. Oh, sorry.
Basically, Ramses and Nefertiti. These are two main characters. It is based in Atlanta, African American fetish BDSM community. So these two, look at your face. These two, Ramses and Nefertiti, and say them names, you automatically think about what?
The mommy.
Really?
That's what Ramsey. Or you want to go to Courage?
Oh, okay, never mind. You automatically think about back then and in them days, who was Ramses and Nefertiti? They were the top people in this community. In this community, they're the top people. They're the ones in that when they strip off their corporate clothing and they go into their palace, these two are actually the top people. They're the top in the Nubian underworld, let's just say. Basically, it is just about that. They're getting ready to induct a new slave, submissive, as you will.
Oh, yeah, I think you did tell me about this.
Yes, I did. I really encouraged you to read it, but you didn't.
I think I'm supposed to do it on you.
But Ramses has his submissive, and Nefertiti, she has hers. So, when it becomes a problem, they don't go outside each other and be like, just like if one of Ramses' submissives go to Nefertiti and says, "Can I have this?" or "Can I want this?" she will slap that. She will slap her and like, "How dare you?" And then Ramses will actually get his whip and beat her in front of the other submissives. I'm like, this is not what you do. It goes on there. You don't disrespect the king and the queen like that by going to
behind each other.
Exactly. Back. So that's what kind of pulled me in. I mean, anyway. Basically what's going on in this book, they're getting ready to induct a new slave. All of a sudden the submissives, the slaves, they want to start doing their own thing. They want to, one of them has like a they get paid good though for being a submissive and all of that.
So basically it's a good version of 50 Shades of Grey.
Hush. Anyway, but they want to start pulling away and doing their own thing. Ramses and Nefertiti, they don't like that. Mm-hmm. They don't want them soiled, as you say. And, they don't want them they don't want them messing around. Come on now. If you gotta, understand. They don't want them messing around doing other side projects. So that's what's beginning to happen. And Ramses' mentor, he's doing other things too, and he gets caught up in something that it's hard for him to get out of.
Yeah.
His mentor.
Child support.
You hush. His mentor, and can you guess what his mentor's name is?
Imhotep.
You butt.
I mean, Nefertiti and Ramses. That's
okay. Yeah. He gets caught up in a sting operation. It does hit the news, and the thing is, don't nobody know what they're doing in the underworld, in the Nubian underworld.
Yeah.
So when they put on their corporate clothing and they go up top, they're corporate. You're not supposed to let nobody know. Yeah. So when Imhotep gets caught up in all of that stuff, he's like, okay, I'm gonna tell everything.
Yeah.
So they can't let him do that. So basically, this whole book is about that. It's about their slaves or submissives trying to pull away and do their own thing, and it delves into, if that actually did happen, or it might be happening, we don't know.
It most likely is, especially with what's going on with the Me Too movement.
Okay. Yeah, what actually goes on in there? You say master. You don't call people by their corporate name. They don't call each other. They call each other Ramses and Nefertiti. Mm-hmm. They don't say, "Oh, Josh" or Barbara. No. They really get it. Oh, hush. They really get into that lifestyle down there. And this is a real good book. I would like to get book 2 and start on it. You can show them the book.
It's backwards, but look. This says The Awakening. Now,
anyway, if I didn't delve enough into it, I do recommend you read that if you're into. I'm I'm not into it, but it was a good read.
Yeah,
it was really good though. I did recommend it to him. He just kind of pushed it to the side.
Excuse me. But on to my. I'm going to go back into the fantasy genre, and we're going to focus on Street Magic. The Circle Opens 2. It's a great read. Surprised me. I really love the main character, Brian Moss, who's this kid that used to be a quote unquote street rat or a street kid. Used to run the streets until he had his consciousness awoken after he went to jail. But yeah, he ends up meeting this, and it's cool because Brian Moss is able to manipulate plants. His magic is plants. He ends up meeting a girl that's on the streets who can manipulate stone. And really most of the book is about him trying to protect her and this noble woman that wants to abuse her power. Because he figures if the girl can use stone magic, she can make jewels and stuff to make the woman richer and more powerful. So it's a pretty interesting read, and I love the setup of the world. I think I got the first book. I hadn't read it, me being a jackass, but it's Tamora Pierce.
Like, what are you gonna do tomorrow?
Tamora Pierce does a great job with the story, and I love how it went at a really good pace. I love the characters. I actually like the noble woman. I can't remember what her name is, but she had a bit of personality. She was ruthless too, and it's kind of messed up that she's killing kids, but she's actually a pretty cool bad guy. And I am going to say Brian Moss has got to be one of the most badass kid magicians I've seen and I've read about in the book. And the way he uses the plants and stuff, like one of the things that he has on him is he has like a stamp on him from when he went to jail on his hands. But he has tattoos of plants on his hands, and they move. They move and stuff, and he can talk to plants and use plants to do different things, such as catch people and stuff like that. And I just loved the book itself. I thought it was a great read. Thought it was an interesting world. Liked the little girl that manipulates stone. I thought she was actually pretty badass too. I kind of like I wish his mentor would have had a bit more screen. I guess you could say screen time.
Book time.
Yeah, book time. But it was actually a really good read. If you've read any of the Circle Open books, let me know in the comment section. Like, what did you think about it? Because I personally liked this and I thought it was awesome. But like I said, it's mostly I liked the characters. Even though the woman was bad, she had personality, and she actually had a decent motivation. I mean, if you know somebody that can turn stones into jewels and stuff, that'll kind of make you want to get rich too. You know what I'm saying?
But did she do it in like how was she doing it though? Was she was hurting people?
No, she didn't do it. I don't mean to spoil the book. Thank you.
Oops.
She didn't get a chance to, but the intention was to get this girl into her service so she can manipulate the girl to manipulate stones into jewels and get money. I mean, that's actually a pretty good motivation if you think about it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the last book is something you can comment on too because you have read it. Splintered by A.G. Howard. Of course, is going to follow a series of books, which I have read, and they are all very, very, very good. This is starting the book of Alyssa Gardner. Basically, it's like a twisted version of
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the books after, you can show them the book.
Let me see if it pick up on her. Nope.
Oh yeah, because it is green. That's tight though.
Look at you can see through me.
Yeah, but
okay.
The rest of the Splintered series, I'm talking about it's just dark and twisted, and It's really very good. What did you like about the book?
Okay, me and her both read the book and we both really enjoyed it. The story follows Alyssa, who ends up going back to Wonderland or Underland, and she has to undo the curse set upon by her ancestor to help reverse some of the things that had gone wrong in Underland.
Well, no,
is it Wonderland?
Yeah, it is actually. She's going back to Wonderland.
Yeah, Wonderland, and she's going back to Underland. Was that the skateboard place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's going back to Wonderland to fix the mistakes the original Alice did years and years. 80 years ago?
Yeah. So it's her when you see the Alice in Wonderland, the Lewis Carroll version, and you see the movie, everything that Alice did, she was not supposed to do. She actually messed things up. That's what this book is actually saying. She actually messed things up. Now it's up to Alyssa
to fix everything.
To fix it.
And we get along for the ride is her love interest Jeb, / best friend Jeb, and also aiding her is is Morpheus, who is the smoking caterpillar.
Yeah.
And honestly, in terms of story, in fact, what do you think about the story?
Well, this book, of course, it is continued, but this book, it was good. It's kind of hard to say because it's like, okay, without actually going into the next book.
You can just say, hey, man, the story was actually pretty good. It comes off with a pretty good cliffhanger ending. One character that that they didn't really touch on too much about in the book does show up at the end. Well, show up at the end.
Well, yeah. Basically what he said, but yeah, it is really good. It actually, I did watch the movie Alice in Wonderland and read the book. And then reading this is like, okay, that's pretty good. Whatever she was doing, the author she kept twisting it and twisting it and twisting it. I like that in that book.
I don't care what nobody say. Hands down, the best character in that book was who? Morpheus. Morpheus was off the chain.
The only reason why you like Morpheus because you don't like Jeb.
I like Morpheus because he's the type of character you don't know where he stands. Yes, yes, throughout the book he's manipulating some of the events and stuff.
He had to.
Yeah, but at the same time he does good things too.
Yeah, he's like, hey, can I trust this person? And then he surprises you. It's like, oh, I can trust this person. And then he does something else. Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, the dude's a dick. Mm-hmm. God. But I like Morpheus. Morpheus, of all of them, had personality.
Had very good personality out of all of them. It took Alyssa a little while because she was, as timid. All of this was happening, it was like, no, I don't believe this. My family's not cursed.
Yeah.
Like that.
And with her character, she was a bit back and forth, especially when it came to not only helping the Wonderland in her real life, but also the relationship she has with Jeb and what she has with Morpheus.
And she developed feelings for Morpheus. So she has to fight the real world, the world she's actually from, and Morpheus and Jeb.
And Jeb was like a cool character in the beginning, but he does become a dick. And especially when it comes to Morpheus, because you're like, well, Morpheus is such a cool cat. And it's like, Jeb, you're kind of doing that little inferiority complex thing where you're trying to attack this guy because he's so cool, but it's like he's reaching a level of cool that you can't. I just like Morpheus. I mean, he had the best lines. He did the most. I mean, he saved them like 3 times.
He wasn't trying to, you might say, okay, Morpheus like maybe was like a dick. The only reason, because he had to get her to believe before all of that. So with Alyssa doing it, and then Alyssa telling Jeb that after, because Jeb was already in a relationship.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you being you been a bitch right now, Jeb. Just let him do what but Alyssa just gotta.
And plus, when you find out more about Morpheus's motivations and what happened, like with the White Queen and where his loyalties actually lie, it makes him out to a really cool character.
Red Queen and I think this is
the King too.
The second or the third book, maybe. But there are 4 books. All very good. I read them all. You'll find out some interesting stuff about Alyssa too, and I'm like, so he don't even know yet. I think I.
But there is a twist, and it is introduced in this book. Should we spoil it?
What? But what's the twist? What's the twist?
Should I spoil it?
Go ahead.
The twist is this: the original Alice isn't Alyssa's grandmother, the way it's put up. Alyssa is actually the grandchild of the Red Queen.
The great.
Yeah, the great. She's actually the relative of the Red Queen. And everything that, and yes, Alice is basically in the cuckoo. Is in the cuckoo.
Alyssa's mother is basically
like her family line is just all just basically crazy. Up. But it's because everything that they said is true.
Yeah, because during that time, Morpheus is very, very old, but he look like a regular teenager like Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa. So when Alyssa wasn't born yet, he was trying to get her mother to do the same thing he's trying to get Alyssa to do. She just said, "Okay, I'm crazy. I'm not finna move." She
fell out.
There's no such thing as talking bugs and everything. So they had to check her into the home.
Mm-hmm. And so that kind of had ramifications too.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, let me try again with her daughter.
Yeah.
Try it again. She was kind of.
But before we go into too much spoilers, I will say this. I did appreciate H.G. Howard's presentation and setup of the Wonderland, the presentation of the characters we thought we knew, and how she shows like how we could make that mistake, like with the rabbit and stuff, but it wasn't actually a rabbit.
Right.
So I will say the writing is really good. There is a little bit too much back and forth when it comes to the Jeb, Alyssa, Morpheus circle. It's like when you watch X-Men, the animated series, and you see Jean Grey, and she's attracted to Logan, and she has feelings for Logan, but she loves Cyclops. So there's that weird, and then of course they got the same, Jeb and Morpheus kind of got this rivalry going, even though Jeb talks more like he's a serial killer. Like, I'll kill you and eat your guts and feed them to the dogs, and turn around and eat the dogs myself. You're like, good God.
Okay.
But we won't go into too much.
They had to work through that at the end. I ain't even gonna say that because you ain't even read it.
When I finish reading the series, we're gonna come back and do a break of the base about the whole series. But we're gonna finish this off with one more of my good reads that I've taken the time to read, and it's the Forever Evil Blight graphic novel series. It's one of those big, massive crossovers where all these characters with their own stories come together. I haven't followed everything surrounding this, but I'm just going to go by the graphic novel.
Over it for days. You have got to read this book.
I kept trying to get it. And basically, the story follows this John Constantine, who ends up surviving this big attack where this alternate evil version of the Justice League, known as the Crime Syndicate, come to the mainstream universe, kick everybody's ass, and John Constantine has to form another team to try to save everybody, save the world. And the main focus of the story is Constantine trying to find Zatanna, one of my favorite characters. And through that, he ends up having to deal with the overall dark consciousness from the humanity psyche, which calls itself Blight. and has to deal with this project in which magic users are being used to make weapons of mass destruction, basically. And the story actually is pretty intense. Is pretty goes at a pretty good pace, even though initially is a bit slow. There are a lot of great. I mean, it's a great. The presentation, the art style, everything just looks great. The color things just have a dark, gritty look to them. I just love the way the graphic novel itself looks. The presentation, even of the cover itself, showing that the crime syndicate itself is just looming over all of them. I really love that presentation. And I said the artwork looks great. The not presentation, the transitions look really good. They're really smooth. I will say this. One of the most prominent things that caught my attention is the philosophical aspect of it, that many of these characters have these like epiphanies in the story. And most of these characters I haven't heard about. I don't know too much about them. John Constantine, I just knew the Keanu Reeves version, and I knew that there was a TV version, but having read this, Constantine is a complete douchebag. Guys, he's one of those characters too, where he does a lot of good, but he'll turn around and do a dick move that don't make any sense, which affects the ending. I'm not gonna lie, the ending sucked, and it was so out of left field. I don't know what the hell the writers were thinking of. But we have great characters: Nightmare Nurse, Swamp Thing. Never cared about Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing was actually pretty good. The Phantom Stranger. Pandora, the woman that actually released Pandora's box. So those characters were actually really good, and I did like the development. Nightmare Nurse probably is the one character that she has a lot of personality. She does a lot of things, but I don't think she has those epiphanies like the other characters do. But she actually was a great character, a great supporting character, and I really liked her. Also, I really like the Phantom Stranger, and I like Pandora, and they really surprised me with the level of depth that both those characters had, especially when they were they're constantly having to deal. I mean, they're both immortal, and they're going through like immortal problems. I mean, she has to deal with the fact that she released the 7 sins on the world, and the Phantom Stranger is the original guy that betrayed Jesus. So they're both having to deal with their sins, and I love how they're just dealing with it, and how them dealing with it, and they're, them learning more about themselves actually helps the story out and helps their battle. I think it was actually awesome. I think it's an awesome read for people. And I've read some reviews that said that some people say it sucks. Some people say it was all right, could have been better. But for me, it's just a reader taking it for what it is that don't know much about what's going on. It was actually a really good read. The antagonist, Blight, was actually pretty badass. And Blight, of course, is basically all the evil of everybody in the world. Our evil thoughts, needs, and wants and stuff came together to form one physical being, and he beats the crap out of them. I mean, he kicks
did they defeat him?
Yeah, eventually they did defeat him. They actually did. Pandora had one of those epiphanies where Blight was the essence of darkness and focus of darkness and all that. She grew to understand that she was the the epitome and focus of light. That was one of the things that led them to it. I don't want to spoil any more than that, but that was one of the things that led them to the path of them winning. And the reason why they had to engage that creature is because John Constantine is trying to find Zatanna and the other superheroes, and he can't because he can't sense them. And he was trying to get rid of the darkness so he can sense them. And of course, that opened a pretty big can of worms.
I'm sure it took a lot to actually defeat him, right?
It took a lot. They fought him like 3 times, and each time he kicked their butt. Like, it was.
So you think there could be like a movie out about that, or is there a movie out?
No, they got the Justice League Dark animated movie that I got in the living room, but it is not. It don't follow this. It got some aspects of it, like Swamp Thing is in it, but
could there be, from what you read, could there be like a potential movie? Or
yeah, I could actually see that being a movie.
Oh, okay.
And also the second half of it is the group now have to found Zatanna, and they found out that there's this group of magic users that are using magic users as weapons. So they have to deal with that. Bad guy Felix Faust and Nick Necro. I actually like Felix. I liked both of the characters because Felix Faust is one of the bad guys. Is like at this point, it's like I'm doing this to save the world, even though I'm hurting and torturing people. I truly believe I'm doing this to save the world, and I like that about that character. Nick Necro has this relationship, this love-hate relationship with John Constantine and Zatanna because they used to be friends back in the day. And so there's this personal relationship between those characters. And I think for the most part, the writers did a great job of focusing on them, at least in my opinion. At least in my opinion. Now, we don't get to see the crime syndicate, and we don't see the real threat that Felix Faust is trying to build his weapon to fight against. Mm-hmm. But it was actually still a pretty good read. But like I said, you get to see why, and most of the characters hate John Constantine, and you see why. Like, he messes over his friends, he messes over the bad guys, he just messes over people like it's nothing. I mean, he does it because, you know, he does it for good intentions, but it's like, you don't have to do that, dude. Right. And especially, and like I said, again, the ending did not make any sense. In fact, I would go ahead and tell it to everybody. The entire graphic novel, he is doing this because of Zatanna. He's trying to find her, trying to save her. The entire, like, it was 400 pages. The entire, like, 395 pages, he's doing this for Zatanna. And in the last 5 pages, he abandons her. I'm like, really? Like, how? Like, I know it's a spoiler, but I don't care. How did the writers come up with that? I mean, I guess they did it to show that he's a dick, but come on now. We all know he has demons, but damn, that was just uncalled for. I'm sorry for the spoiler, guy, but dang. But yeah, those. Let me just end it off on here. Go read these books. They're great books. Go check them out. We highly recommend that our viewers just go ahead and just enjoy themselves with these reads because we enjoyed ourselves. Again, we had The Awakening, we had Splintered, Street Magic, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Forever Blight, and See No Evil. Go check these books out, guys. And in the comment section below, if you have read them, let us know what you thought about them. And also any recommendations for books that we could potentially read and talk about here on the channel. Also, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what's going on the Narik Chase channel. And Narik and Miss Madam B, we will catch you guys later.
Bye.